Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, July 21st. You listen to THHoopers, Brandon Jennings' favorite basketball podcast, Bucks legend Brandon Jennings. I'm your host, Jacob Lehman. With me, I'm joined, as always, the half hooper, George Martin. How you doing, George? I just feel pretty happy.
Very, very happy night. Wow, what a performance. Finals MVP. Finals MVP in a ring. His resume is stacked. All the Greeks are happy.
Because you are Greek, right?
Great night.
You don't talk about it too much, but you are Greek.
Oh, I guess I don't talk about it too much, but yes, I am. Oh, I should grab my Greek flag right now.
FaceTime George. I was going to get to that. FaceTime George. I'm out here in AZ. Not a whole lot going on because the Bucks did win, but I'm out here in AZ, so I FaceTime George to bask in the celebration with him because I know he wanted this. He had Bucks in 7. A is Greek. And he's got the Greek flag on him just in his room. I don't know who he was flexing for.
You want me to go grab it? It's out in the –
I don't know. I want you to grab it. If Kat wants to come bring it in, she can come bring it in. But I don't want you to leave in here because I have a solo pod if you don't. And I'm in no shape to handle a solo pod. But no Josh here. You may be thinking, he misses so many pods. It's his mom's birthday. Very, very, very acceptable. He's also in Hawaii. Aloha. So no Josh here. But I'm sure he'll be back Thursday. Or if not, you'll see him for off-season talk. But we got a good show for you guys no matter what. Obviously, the Bucks win. We got a whole lot to talk about there. They beat the Suns in Game 6. We're going to talk about what went right for the Bucks to rattle off 4 in a row. We're going to talk about what went wrong for CP3 and the Suns to lose after going up 2-0. There's two sides to every coin. Where both teams go from here as far as offseason, kind of a speed round after we talk about the finals with topics such as Will Barton declining his player option and NBA switching to the Wilson ball from Spalding after, I think, like 40 years. Goated, in my opinion, but we'll get George's opinion on that too. But first, remember, make sure to check us out on socials at THHoopers, Instagram, and then George has been blowing up on Twitter. We're just going to promote it there. We're going to see how it goes tomorrow. Sometimes I don't want this podcast to be getting put in like a Twitter pack because that's what happened to George tonight. He tweets stuff with the intent of getting attention, just like he does in real life. He says stuff with the intent of getting a reaction.
Attention. I'm mastering it. Twitter's getting a little bit easier here.
But yeah, what did you tweet tonight after the Bucks won? What did you tweet?
I tweeted 2021 Giannis better than 2016 LeBron in their championship runs, and the 4-6 Mafia rattled off a egregious pack on me tonight.
3-6 in one Mafia, you mean?
Yeah, 3-6-1. Sorry, Mickey Mouse ring. 3-6-1.
No, we don't have two listeners right now, so I'll let you clear your name right now. Are you Skip Baylessing? We're just going to stand by these stupid takes, or do you believe this, or is this kind of like?
No, it was complete. It was complete bait. It was absolutely complete bait.
You say it like you're James Bond, like oh, they fell for it again. I'm a winner once again. But yeah, let's get right into it. At THHoopers Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And then what's Twitter?
G_Martin21.
And you'll know it's him because he has a fake ass Gucci belt in his Twitter Avi.
That also got flamed tonight, very much so.
I've been playing it for a year. I'm so glad someone finally hopped on that. But let's get back to basketball. Bucks win, and my man George here, he had him in 7. So I'm just gonna let him talk. What went right? You talk about this game. You talk about the last 4. Giannis 50 piece, by the way. I could name the stats, but I'm sure everyone already knows, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time there. Giannis 50 and 14. I know George wants to talk about the free throws, but I want to say it first. What is it? 17 for 19. He was 17 for 18 at one point. Missed that last one to get 51. Good looks by the Bucks, by the way, to make him shoot those free throws to get 50 points. He had 49.
50 looks better than 51 aesthetically.
50 also looks better than 49, so good pass by Chris Middleton to get Giannis the ball and shoot those free throws. But Middleton, 17. Jrue Holiday, 12. Not great shooting from either, but good defense, low-scoring game. 105-98, Bucks win in Milwaukee. 17,000 people in the stands. 65,000 people.
Deer District was going
in the Deer
nuts.
District.
Could have been you.
Those people don't mess around. The Packers were chewing clock these past few years, just trying to maybe we'll full commit, win a Super Bowl. The Bucks do it. So Wisconsin's now a basketball team. A basketball state. But George, take it away here. What did you see from this game from the Bucks? What made them win?
Well, first and foremost, obviously, Yanni, 50, 14, 5 blocks, just an absolute masterclass on both ends of the floor. One of the more impressive ones I've seen in about 5-6 years there. I mean, just he was getting everything inside, and Ayton looked like Ayton was seeing ghosts out there. And it was interesting. They were just giving him time to, speed up and let him get downhill, and that it was just making it really easy for him. And he just looked comfortable hitting these middies, hooks, fades, his pull-ups. I mean, he hit a 3 too. It just everything was going for him. And he was dunk. He had one possession where he was down in the dunker spot. He did a swim move over Bridges, put his shoulder next to him and bumped him out of the way to create space, caught the ball, left-hand dunk over 3 Suns. I mean, he just seized the moment and physically just dominated. Ooh, sorry, I just shook my computer there, but just absolutely dominated. And he just really all of the positive traits he has as an offensive player, he maximized those to his potential tonight. And you really could not add. This is definitely one of the more impressive closeout games of all time, honestly, in a finals game.
Well, so it's 50 points, 5-0, 50 burger, and it's the 6th most all-time in a finals game. Can't tell you where it ranks in a closeout game, but 6th all-time, it isn't a closeout game. That's just Giannis for you. He wins finals MVP. I know it's well-deserved, but just overall in this series, is this the best performance you've seen the recent date? Is it until you get to 2016 Braun? That's where you draw the line? Because next podcast, I don't know if it'll be you. I don't know if it'll be me. But we're going to have top 5 finals MVPs as far as years. And we'll see if Giannis makes that. Looking at the raw stats right now, he almost averaged 40 this series in a 6 game. He might be on there, but we'll see. They're calling him the new age Wilt. But is it 2016 where you draw the line, or does it go back further? Do you like Katie and when he's winning those Mickey Mouse drinks to the Warriors? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi's was impressive, his run in totality, but that final series, I mean, the poor Warriors were playing like Ian Clark and Alfonso McKinney, big minutes. But first comes to mind 2016 for sure. Even LeBron last year was very elite too. He averaged about 30, 12, and 8 on very, very efficient shooting numbers. And he was a decent two-way player. But when I just look at the series in whole, I mean, he came back from a 2-0 deficit. LeBron in 16 was 3-1. With last year's series, LeBron was very dominant, best player throughout the playoffs. But in that series, there really was no adversity. And not even to mention Yanni, his knee, he came back. His first game was in the finals.
We predicted he'd play game 3, and we were like, if that, he might miss the series. And he's back game 1, and he scores 29, then rounds off 2 40s, then 15 to close out.
Yeah, so it's definitely 2016 is where I'll stop it. But I would say like right after that is definitely LeBron's from last year. But just the context of this series, him not being fully healthy at all this series, coming down from 2-0 with adversity, his teammates not even showing up well in the closeout game until like the very end when Middleton hit a few pull-up daggers. But just in all, I mean, this was like an all-time carry job in this game.
So we'll get to the other players with them, but I want to get to this season as a whole for the Bucks. Was this cutting out the Lakers because you're a big fan of them? Was this your favorite title run to watch besides them? In recent memory, you started watching basketball in 2010. Cutting out the Lakers ones because you follow them every game. I mean, they beat the Heat, they sweep them, they conquer their demons. Then they beat the Nets in 7, a tremendous series in where they're not healthy. The Nets aren't completely healthy, but the Bucks just find a way to win those games. KD's big ass foot stops them. That's making the conference finals. And then they dispatched the Hawks in 6 without Giannis those last 2 games. Then they obviously had the series with the Suns right here, which this series right here made it seem very, very real, like not quote unquote Mickey Mouse or whatever, just because the Suns were healthy and they were favored. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So answer that question for me, and then I got a few more stuff to bounce off you.
I mean, playoffs in a whole, I think this is my favorite. Final series is 2016 for sure. I think that's probably everyone's favorite. But, I mean, there was just so much variance. we thought the Heat was going to be their toughest test, their demons that they were going to, face in the first round. You picked the Heat in 6, I believe, right? Or 5?
I had the Bucks in 5.
Oh, no, sorry. Josh? Someone picked the Heat, right?
Josh picked the Heat.
Yeah. We all thought it was going to be tough. They run through them, and then they get to, the series everyone said the winner of this is winning it all. Then it goes 7 when it probably shouldn't have, but we saw dominance from him there. He was getting everything he wanted against Blake and company. And, yeah, it was electric. Game 7 went to overtime. KD was having 50 balls. Milwaukee lost by, 50 in a game and then won 86-83, the next game. Just the variance of games was electric. And then they obviously get to the Hawks. He goes down with an injury, and you're like, oh, my God, even if they win, the Suns are going to play another Mickey Mouse injured team. And he comes back game 1, has a miraculous chase down block out of nowhere, puts up 40 the next 2 games, and then has a monster block and then follows it up with a lob. Every single game, there's a career-defining highlight play that you could just rewind on a VHS tape. Every single game from him. I mean, this is...
He has two of the most iconic finals plays in the past decade in this series. The block and the lob.
His first block isn't even... It's not even a top 2 play from him. That's what's wild. So I don't know if I cut out there or you cut out there, but
you cut out a little bit there,
yeah. I said his first block isn't even a top 2 play this series, so it's definitely my favorite run in whole, by far. I would have to say.
So the people want to know, because we throw it around so much. We've been talking about this ring. It's the Band-Aid ring. It's worse than the Disneyland ring. But now we discussed the path the Bucks went through. We discussed every ring has an asterisk, but is this a normal ring? Or is it kind of like, COVID season, this, that?
I mean, sure. We can obviously ostracize this ring. There's no question that we wouldn't be able to. There's so many different instances, so many competitive disadvantages. I mean, heck, the Lakers were playing with 8,000 fans versus the frickin', Suns. We saw, game 1 against Phoenix, full crowd rambling. You go back to Staples, it's 8K. I mean, that's a big competitive disadvantage, but obviously every ring is like that. Every championship, it's the human aspect of the game. But they went through injuries themselves. They went through adversity. They, especially in this season, you just had to have the mental edge. I mean, these players were testing every single day on off days. They were, they had to travel. There was no fans. They had restrictions. They couldn't see their family, yada, yada, yada. It was almost like the bubble, but outside of it, it's just who wanted it the most, who showed the best mental edge, who was the toughest. And I think the Bucks perfectly fit that description. They were the toughest, most physical, mentally edged team. And I think it was well-deserved.
And you talk about mental edge. Is that credit to Coach Bud? Because we've been on his ass the whole season, all the playoffs. He shouldn't get an extension. He's proved nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then he outcoaches Monty Williams, who a lot of people think should have been Coach of the Year.
My pick for Coach of the Year. So
we'll get into that now, specifically this playoff run, this series. Were you impressed by Bud, or are we both going to eat crow? Because, like I said, we've been on his ass saying he's not right. He's not right for this team, get a new coach, and here he is, a champion.
I have to eat my words. Adjustments got better throughout the series. Rotations got shorter. The right guys were played. Playing I know he DNP'd Bobby Portis in that net series, which was delusional,
and everyone was pissed off.
He was their biggest X factor tonight off the bench. I think he had 16 points, yeah.
16 points, 22 minutes.
Hit 2 key threes. But just looking overall with the mentally edge thing and just how the Bucks' overall mentality and being physical, I think it's 100% a credit to Bud. He's very much so like a yes man coach. People vie for him, but he also trusts his guys. He always says we trust our guys. We roll with we roll with our horses or something. That
which when your team's called the Bucks, why not just say but
we roll with the Deers or something. But he very much so goes to war with his guys. Everyone respects him. I've never really heard anything bad from him. No scam. He's players respect him, and I do think because I saw the post game interviews. They're like, we did coach. We'll be back here. all thanks to you and all that. And I know players genuinely like respect their coaches anyways, but I do think in a sense that is a big credit to him because they trust him, he trusts them, and he's like we go according to the game plan, we trust it. But I think players really they like that if the coach trusts in them that we're gonna get this right, it's gonna work, they'll go out there and they'll fight their asses off for him.
Exactly, it's it's kind of the fake it till you make it thing. Because if Bud's like, no, it'll work, we're not going to change. The player's like, well, okay, I guess we have to do what he's saying, and that makes you want to run through a wall for him because he's not switching everything up. He's like, no, trust what I'm doing. He acts like Phil Jackson. He's the Zen master. He's like, here's what we're gonna do. It'll work, I promise. And they do it. And hey, here it is. I don't think he's Phil Jackson. I don't think he's a Zen master. I think he got a little bit lucky. Not as far as a Mickey Mouse ring, but just like he had the right game plan here. Because sometimes he doesn't. And for the Phoenix Suns, he game planned very well. There's a few more shout-outs. Shout out Bobby Portis, 16 points. Great closeout game. PJ Tucker, donut in this one. Doesn't matter. Played fantastic defense. Pat Connaughton, I didn't like how he played this game, but he's been good this series. He doesn't get a PJ Tucker. He also had a donut, but like he doesn't have a PJ Tucker donut.
No, he had a lot of lapses this game.
Yeah,
at least with PJ, like he gives you effort and grit, and he'll fight out there. Pat just looked lost. He got a great offensive rebound. I think this was in the fourth. Great offensive board. The Bucks are going on a run. They were down to start the second half, and then he gets a board, passes out, gets it back with 14 left on the shot clock, just pulls a three and hits I think he hit back iron, and it just sounded like a gun range, man. But he gets enough credit, especially I think it was game 4. He hit that key three right before the block, so he gets a ton of credit for this series.
I'm gonna close it out for the Bucks here. Obviously, move on to the Suns soon. Middleton and Holiday don't shoot great, but it's a low-scoring game, which means they did their two-way job. So what did you see just from the eye test, Holiday and Middleton?
Holiday, we've said it all playoffs long. He fights on defense. He competes. He gets over screens. He makes it rough on guys. I think he had a pretty key steal later in the game as well. Mm-hmm. He just competes there.
They both had 4 steals each.
It hurts everyone watching to see how awful he is offensively. He just looked, last game was a complete outlier game for him all playoffs, but that elite defense, I mean, he's one of the best, probably the best defensive guard in the league. So you take that every day that you can get it. You don't really ask for much offensively. That's a bonus. Middleton, he was orchestrating a lot more offensively, pick and rolls. He was kind of like the floor general tonight. Yanni really made it key to be off ball, and that's what we've been asking for. So, and he hit a few big time middies late in the fourth as well. So that's really with Chris. All you ask for him is to hit shots down the line, and he's kind of their closer, not really, but you need him to hit those.
Jrue Holiday, over 46 minutes. So obviously, Coach Bud was thinking, hey, we need his defense because he goes 4 for 19 here. 11 assists, though, 4 steals, 1 rebound away from a Jason Kidd triple-double. Obviously, he's out there for a reason. Everyone who watches basketball knows Jrue Holiday is no scrub. You can't just look and say he went 4 for 19. Oh, he shouldn't be out there. He's Jrue Holiday. You need him on Chris Paul. You need him on Devin Booker. And I think that's a good segue to the Suns. They lose in 6 here. I'll ask the fun question later, but let's get to the game. Let's get to the series. Chris Paul, 26 points, 11 for 19. Plays a solid game, but when your season's on the line, you need a little bit more than solid. He peaked in game 1, and I stand by that. And then Devin Booker, after coming off back-to-back 40-point games, 8 for 22. So I as you watched the whole game, right? Obviously, where did the game turn, or did the Bucks come? Because that could be the wrong question. Because Bucks came out, won the first quarter 29-16. So was it that first quarter? Or was there a specific play you saw where you're like, okay, wait, this Bucks might have this one?
Well, you're saying where the Bucks won it, or
when did you know this? Like it was going to be a rough one for the Suns. Was it the end of that first quarter? Or was it a different spot?
No, it wasn't in the first. I knew they were going to fight back. They went up with the lead at halftime. They got out to like a 7 to 9 point lead early in the third, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of danger time.
It's what I predicted. Close game at halftime, Suns pull away, and I was like, oh, goody.
Yeah, and specifically, Bucks locked in defensively. I mean, there was a lot of plays late in that first half where the Suns started getting that lead. They would set two screens. What they would do is they would Chris Paul would have the ball. Someone would set a screen on the guard. Yanni would switch. I'm like, why are they hunting switches on him? Like, he's their best defender. They come up and set another one with the big, so they get Brook Lopez out on them. And I wouldn't say Lopez was playing like drop coverage, but Chris Paul and Book, they were both getting their middies off in that second quarter. And right then and there, I'm like, hold on. They did that like 4 times in a row. Got buckets like 3 of the 4 times. I'm like, what is going on? They've been running this all half. Bucks come out, locked in a lot more. I think Brook did get pulled somewhat early in that second half. And then Portis comes in. Portis is huge. In that third,
big energy guy, big ass.
In that third quarter for sure. Defensively, getting blocks and contesting shots, and then offensively hitting threes, timely threes as well. So I think that's where it really turned for them. Bucks went on a run. They finally got that lead, and then it became really gritty in that third quarter. Not a lot of points were being scored. Advantage Bucks. So right then and there, it was just like 4-point swing, 2-point swing. It was staying within this, 1-2 possession gap. And I was a little bit nervous, but I'm like, as the longer it went on, the Bucks looked more comfortable. I don't know why they look more comfortable in situations like this, but like we said, it's been like that all playoffs. So that's where I was kind of like, okay.
Watching the game, it's the third quarter, and I see both these teams just realize, because at halftime I was on pace to be like a 115, 110 game kind of thing.
I think both teams had around 50
in the
points,
third quarter were like, our season's on the line. Suns, obviously, because they lose this when they go home. And Bucks, they don't want to go back to Phoenix, see the Suns and 4 guys screaming. They don't want to see that.
They don't want to see you, Cizak.
They don't want to see me and Jacob Cizak outside the arena in a Devin Booker jersey and a Lakers shirt that's Jacob Cizak brought for no goddamn reason, but he wanted to wear a sports shirt. They both
beat up if he brought a Lakers shirt in the Suns
They
arena.
both lock in the third quarter, and that's where I think the Bucks had the advantage because they started playing more physical, which we know really gets to the Suns, that physicality. And then speaking of physicality, the fouls. Very big trend here. Ayton always getting into foul trouble. He had 5 here. But also Chris Paul, 5 fouls. Devin Booker, 4 fouls. Some of those were towards the end when they're playing the free throw game. But where did you see the fouls really – where did you see foul trouble really play a role in this game for the Suns?
Yeah, Bucks were just hunting a lot. They were the more aggressive team. And, foul benefit always goes to the aggressor. And it's just known in any single game.
It also doesn't hurt that Giannis shoots 19 free throws, which are where those fouls are going towards. I think
a lot of them
were on Giannis.
I know, Chris Paul as well had a few where Yanni would slip through. Like I said, he would just get inside. He would create space for himself. And on one, they try to throw a lob. Chris Paul just, wraps him up so he doesn't finish a lob there. And that's honestly what part of it was. I don't think their game plan was to hack him at all, but it was really just they didn't want to give him an open lane to the rim, so it was just beat us with free throws. And the Bucks aren't in a crazy 3-point shooting team. They really only create their threes off of drives. And if I look here, they shot 27, which is a decent amount, but I just felt like they were more aggressive, really all game.
If you got to be a real a-hole here, and you got to say, this loss is on one person. Who's it on?
Oh man,
you could pick the coach. You could pick the fans for all I care. I don't know. Just
I don't want to pick Monty. I'm gonna go with Ayton here. I really wanted to say Book because he was horrible.
I agree. It's Ayton though. He needs to stay out of foul trouble, and he simply couldn't.
He was in foul trouble. I think. After game 1, basically when Giannis started, acting like he was healthy, he was in foul trouble ever since. And offensively too, all that great touch he lost, especially in that Clipper series, he was going to town. He had it. Didn't he have 2020 game 1 of this series? Or 2019, I guess, with Chris Paul.
I can't quote you, but 2019, yes, he did. He did.
This series. He was just really aggressive on the board. Only 6 here, Jay Crowder had double that. And he just looked like he almost looked shook. This was a big game for them, obviously. They're young. But there was so many possessions where he got the ball, and when he was in the post, he would look over his shoulder multiple times when he had an open lane and just looked very timid. Defensively, he wasn't aggressive or physical like he had usually been. That probably was a factor.
And he's still picking up fouls, so he's getting these ticky-tack fouls, and you're getting and ones, and you're wasting the fouls.
He was bodying him up the first 3 games. This wasn't even after game 1. There was so many possessions early on. Giannis able to get downhill. He's guarding him like 10 feet away. It's like you're letting this guy rev up, which is his biggest skill set.
Yeah.
He lets him rev up. He's doing like up and under finishes, turnarounds, dunks. I mean, you can't let him get going. Especially if you're gonna have him out in one-on-one coverage, you can't let him get going because it's curtains. It doesn't matter who's out there.
And the worst thing was Ayton was the best defender for Giannis. He was the best defender for him. And you see him playing good one possession, and then the other one he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, hands down. Giannis swing through and one layup, and Ayton picks up the foul.
Like,
and it
obviously,
sucks because Ayton is as valuable on offense as he is defense. So now that's a huge part. It's a huge part of your game plan. Just chucked out the window because Ayton is picking up these fouls.
Obviously, the Suns guards have to be elite for them to win the title. Like I'm not like letting them off.
They don't get
easy here.
They don't get a pass.
Yeah, they don't get a pass. But I just felt like we know Ayton's biggest responsibility is to hinder Giannis. He's going to get what he wants. He's hit that level of stardom. But just in a game like this, where especially when they were up in the third, I think he had like 20 at half. If he only lets him score 40, they win this game probably comfortably because he got a lot of his work at the end of the game with free throws. So just if he was just a little bit better defensively, didn't let him get his stuff downhill. I mean, he was like sitting damn near in the restricted zone while Giannis like at the top of the key. I'm like,
well, yeah, he's lightning McQueen revving up just like Giannis does.
Yeah,
I mean, Giannis has been very good in the post this season, but I mean, still his best skill set is when you let him get it at 3-point line. And he gets those 2 steps to just rev up like that. He dunks on you. You can't stop once he gets that momentum. I mean, we'll ask the ESPN question, I guess, the one the corny one, I guess. And I wish Josh was here because I'm sure he'd have a different opinion than us. But what does this do to Chris Paul's legacy? Because we're like, oh, he made the finals. He could do no wrong now. But he blew a 2-0 lead. And he rattles off 4 in a row.
Fourth
and he has that
lead
disaster class in game 4. Like what does it do? Because people were saying before the series, when they went up 2-0, top 5 point guard all time. And now they have him like 11. Like it's a huge thing where he blows those 4 games and has that LeBron James game 4.
I have a funny tweet about that, by the way. I know you wanted me to bring in tweets after.
Yeah,
but
you get some research,
somebody tweeted a Chris Paul led team went up 2-0, and y'all were saying congrats, LMAO. Is this y'all first time here?
It's true. I mean, he's blown multiple leads. He's the player Doc Rivers. Like but I mean, we can overreact all we want, but just honest to God, what does it do for his legacy that he blew this lead?
I mean, obviously we have to give him praise for getting to the finals. I know they ran through
AD injured, Jamal Murray
way more
injured,
decimated West.
Kawhi injured.
Well, listen, you said he was the best player on their team.
He can't be the only healthy team he plays. And the guy who wasn't going to be healthy, he drops back-to-back 40s and a 50
I'm flipping this on you. No, I'm flipping this on you. You said he was the best player on their team. So I want to know. So he led them to the finals as the best player on the team. That has to do something for you, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then he plays bad.
So that what elevated him to 4th all time for you or something?
I had him. I checked before the season. I made a top 25 point guards of all time because I was bored. I was going through a lot. I need to fill some time. And he was 11 for me. I checked back like 3 days ago, and he's 11. And I kind of stick by that. I feel like he's behind the guys like Jason Kidd in the guys like Stockton. And I think before the series I had him as high as 8, maybe. I don't know. Never top 5 though. So I'm sorry that your point didn't really work there. But the point that I've been making that he's the best player stands because he doesn't play good and they lose. And the guy you're saying is the best player, Evan Booker, plays good and they still lose. So
we're both wrong.
It's Big Crowder. 15-13 in close that game.
I mean, I've seen obviously he's falling out of the top 5 after this. No way you can have him up there now. I've seen 6. I think I would be a little bit more generous, probably around 8, because you have Magic, Curry, Zeke, Stockton, Nash, Oscar, and then after that, unless I'm missing someone like very notable, I think after that you can have a discussion. So 8 through 11, that's fine with me. I'm not gonna disagree with you there, but
you still gotta give him respect. We're not dicks here. He took the Phoenix Suns, who I had as a 6 seed. I think you had as maybe a 5 seed. J Sports Podcast had him as a top 3 seed. God bless him. He's Akinator.
Had him as an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's Akinator, Josh Nowakowski. But
nobody believed.
No one really believed they'd do that good. Other than having them lose to the Lakers in the first round, they get past there and they make the finals.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people started believing in them once they beat that Lakers team because they looked very convincing, even without Chris Paul when he was injured there. But it took a lot of steam to get going. Not a lot of people believed in him, so you got to give Chris Paul that credit. He does come to your franchise and he saves them, just like State Farm can save you from a lot of different things.
Free promo.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not a great last week and a half for Chris Paul. Not at all.
It doesn't tarnish his legacy by any chance, but obviously when you think of greatest point guards.
Does it tarnish his next contract? Because he's making he has a $45 million.
This is a good segue.
$45 million player option that he plans to decline, and then he wants a 3-year, upwards $100 million. If they win the championship, I think they go, you know what? Just sign anywhere. We'll give you whatever
open your
you
wallet.
want.
Yeah, blank check for him if they win the chip. Especially after 10 years of not making the playoffs.
The West is going to be great, but just keep the fans happy. You don't want to pull a 2011 Dallas Mavericks where you let the whole gang leave. You let Tyson Chandler leave. You don't re-sign Jason Kidd.
You want a ring,
you chip off all these players.
After 10 years not making the playoffs, yeah, you write a blank check.
Yeah, but now they lose, and he has like we said, disaster class game 4, and they blow 4 in a row when your best player, Chris Paul, is known to be this great leader. He's great with young players, and he did this whole year leading by example, which is why Booker and Ayton followed him. Mick just followed him. But they're like, wait a second, maybe this guy doesn't know everything. We just blew this lead. So now you have a little problem there. Do you give him whatever he wants, or is there a cap on what you pay him over? Is there a year cap? Is there a money cap? Talk to me.
I would go more of year cap because we've seen before, like Kobe with the Lakers, they gave him 2 years, but they gave him $25 million, which at the time was a very, very large contract at his age. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Here's what you have to look at. You're going to have to pay Ayton. You're going to have to pay Bridges. You're going to have to pay Cam Johnson. Book just got his, right?
Book already has his, but then you got guys you have to bring back, like Campaign and Torrey Craig.
And then, like I said, Bridges, Johnson, and Ayton are going to command large contracts, and you're not going to you don't want them.
And they can't leave yet. They can't leave yet, but you don't want to piss them off.
No,
you want to pay them when you can. And DeAndre Ayton deserves a max contract.
And look at guys
now you're going over the salary cap. When now the Nuggets got Jamal Murray back. Who knows when Kawhi's coming back? But if he comes back, he's better than the Suns. Who knows what the Lakers are going to get?
And especially in spots where Campaign looked like their starting point guard and Chris Paul didn't. You have to evaluate yourself there. Obviously, I think they should bring him back. Why not run it back? Ayton's going to get better. Johnson, Bridges, obviously. Sarge, I don't. He's probably gonna be out a while. They need to also prioritize a backup big. Ayton was dying out there on an island before they threw Kaminsky.
And that's the thing. Going back to the foul trouble thing, he comes off the court. Oh God, who we playing at center now against Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez?
Thank God Kaminsky actually gave them serviceable minutes. He had 6 points, but
6 points, and he was a 0 plus minus. For Frank Kaminsky,
horrible.
That's a goddamn dub if Frank Kaminsky draws even with you and playing against Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Seeing Ghost out there with Gianni at the 5, that they're getting run off the court. So that's a big thing for them because Sarge, even when he was healthy, he wasn't getting great minutes. He wasn't producing much. So you have to look there. And that's honestly as big a priority as bringing CP back. I think they do. I think it's going to be 2 years balloon contract. Don't really think they put an option on it because if you do 2 plus 1 for 3, he's taking it no matter what, and you're stuck with the 40-year-old Chris Paul for $35 million. I mean,
I'll bring this to the attention because we've been talking about it a lot, and everyone's been talking about it. I'm not I deserve an ESPN. But when he signed that Houston Rockets contract, they were like, oh, that's the worst contract in the league, and now he's going to decline that player option for 45 because he thinks he can get something even better. And he will if Phoenix decides not to pay him that. He will this year get 3 for 100. Some team will pay up because they see.
The only team I can think of is the Knicks. Only team I can think of is the Knicks that would give him that.
Some team will pay up who's missing that one piece, and Chris Paul comes and he saves franchises. And if
the Bulls do it?
Don't say the Bulls do it. But do you agree there that some team will give him what he wants? So if you're the Phoenix Suns, damn, I guess I do got to give him what he wants because I don't want to have this lightning in a bottle.
There might be a little bit of a desperation thing with a team, but I don't know, man. 3 for 100 after seeing some of his blunders late in the series.
Because Chris Paul don't give discounts. He got that State Farm money. He still wants $100 million.
But listen, we've seen worse contracts be given to way worse players. This wouldn't be really bad by any sense at all, especially if it's a team that's like desperate and their title window is, shrinking a little bit. Like, if the Sixers had cap space and didn't have a $35 million liability at their starting point guard, they would 100% give him that contract, especially with their, continued playoff failures and just all that. But
sign and trade CP3 for Simmons. Who says no? Who knows?
I think the Suns say no. Simmons and Ayton next to each other.
I think the Suns say no too.
Simmons and Ayton next to each other.
Ayton got a jumper in 2K, but not in real life. I was bamboozled by running 2K. Chris Paul's vegan now, though, so maybe he'll play till he's 50. We haven't had an old guy go vegan like that, and Chris Paul's been nice these last few years.
Mickey needs to go vegan.
I got asked it every time, but success for the Suns. Yes, right. Obviously, we're clowning them right here, but great season for them. Great season for guys like Ayton, for guys like Mikal Bridges. So finally,
a lot of growth for the Suns team.
Guys who have been producing a lot, had a lot of raw talent, but one got Chris Paul next to them, so now they're getting the stats to show it. And two, you make the playoffs. You got these casuals watching them like this guy Ayton's pretty good, isn't he? Right? Yeah, like he's like
I think Ayton's stock.
He's a modern day big man. Like when players knew this all along, because people want to talk about Booker, like casuals finally know Booker. People knew Booker. They knew Booker. Booker.
I would say Ayton's stock rose the most this playoffs. I know this series wasn't great for him, but when you're going up a guy who was literally playing like modern day Shaq, you're not going to have the greatest performance. But his stock was great. We kind of expected a jump from him this year. We got it later than we expected. Obviously, didn't come till the playoffs. But looking at another leap this next season for him, hopefully incorporating more of a little. We saw some from him in that Clipper series. He was hitting some fades, some post moves. So I'm excited for his future for sure. We'll just see who's feeding him the rock down low in the post.
Then successful season for the Bucks, obviously.
This was their best chance to win in the next few years, man. I'm sorry. I love Yanni. The Bucks team was fun to watch.
You said something before the pod. You don't see them back here soon.
I really, if it's a healthy East, I don't. I mean, look, they went to 7, and so many things happen. If Kyrie doesn't land,
Nets come out as the favorites, as you know how they dropped those way too early odds. Nets are the favorite, followed by the Lakers, which I don't agree with because Lakers are a big-ass question mark for next year.
There's a lot of things we have to figure out with the Lakers. There's a lot of things the Lakers have to figure out. Yeah,
they're a big question mark. The Nets I like, though.
Especially with the Bucks, where everyone's coming back because they're locked into 3 maxes. They're the reigning champs. They 100% should be listed as the favorite to repeat. I mean, unless it's obviously different than like with the Raptors, they lose Kawhi and Danny Green, and all those key players. It's like, well, yeah, they're not gonna. It wouldn't be smart to have them repeating, but I mean, I think they can get back there in like a few years, but they get back there next season. I guess I wouldn't be totally surprised. But winning it all, especially if there's no disaster in the West again with injuries. I don't necessarily know if they would win these next few years. So I'm definitely happy they got it here because I think this was their best shot by far in any chance they could have had.
Ahead of them are the Nets, but I think that right now is my locked-in Eastern Conference Finals. We got to see what the hell the Sixers do with Ben Simmons and all that mess. But I mean, Hawks are going to be back there, but not as good. But I think Nets are going to run away in the East. Very, very early prediction. We'll get to an off-season talk another time, but. Give these finals a grade in these 6 games. We had a lot of close games, a lot of highlight plays, and your Greek brethren won. So I'm assuming it's a high grade. But
A+.
A+. A lot of people NBA Finals A+.
A lot of people appreciated this finals. They said best since 2016, no doubter. I think a lot of people would agree. I mean, maybe they give it like an A-. I don't know, depending on who they wanted to root for, who they have biases towards. But just in general, every game you can name out a classic that you're going to see on hardwood films and whatever
on NBA
10
TV
years.
in 4 years. I mean, you're on Twitter a lot because everyone was talking about the casuals hate this. There's no LeBron. There's no this. But it seemed, I don't know
disagree
what the
with
ratings
that.
are, but it seemed like everyone liked this one. It seemed like there's some fresh blood here and everyone liked it.
The ratings, I think I saw something saying the ratings from like 2 years ago, like in a non-pandemic year, I think they were down this year. But also, there's still so much going on. Like, I don't like comparing it, especially like in the bubble, to the like, oh, ratings are down so much. Yeah, there's a raging pandemic. There's an election. People are trying to live their life and not get sick. Oh, yada yada yada.
They're competing with football in the bubble. That never goes well.
I was watching like a random Pacers Thunder like seeding game, and here I look at my TV. It's like Seattle versus Arizona Monday Night Football. I'm like, what are we doing here? And
like, Adam Silver, why is this here?
Yeah, but. No, a lot of people just. I actually think it's a good thing for the NBA. It kind of signals like a new age, a new generation. You look at guys like LeBron, KD, Steph. They're not going to be on the biggest stage that much longer. I mean, I assume LeBron and KD are going to get back there. Steph, Warriors got a lot to do, but I mean, maybe like one or two more times, and that might be it. But there's definitely a new age.
We can have this mini conversation actually right now because we haven't mentioned it too much, and it's been going around a lot. The highest rating. In the last few years was 2017, that first year with KD on the Warriors. And everyone's like, super teams ruined the league. And that series was not very good. They won in 5. There's one close game. It was a gentleman's sweep, but it was the highest rating because everyone's like, is KD going to do it? KD also thinks it was the best finals in the past 10 years. He's a moron, but KD's just doing KD. But, I mean, we get fresh blood here. What do you think is better for the NBA? These super teams where you're seeing, oh my God, are they going to really is there a way they can blow this or is going to run away with it? Or is it like, here's this homegrown talent. Let's see who prevails.
No, I think what we saw here is a lot better. The homegrown talent. I mean, just parity. People ask for parity. They get it, right? People should like it. I mean, you look at both these teams. Both these teams were primarily built. I mean, with the Bucks, they really only bought Drew, and the Suns really only bought Chris Paul. They were primarily built with drafting through
Giannis and then Book Grenade.
Going through the draft, small, key free agent pickups, Suns with Crowder, Bucks with Portis and all that. But I think it's great. I mean, it's like true fit. Like I don't know, true fans of the game. I think I enjoyed this. I mean, it's nice to see a new champion. It's nice to see these guys in their first year on the bright stage. Seeing these guys elevate their games and seeing where the NBA is going to be in the next few years. I mean, Giannis is definitely a face of the league by far. D-Book's going to be back. And it makes it better because we can still have these guys clash with, the super teams, the stars of, our generation and all that. Well, the newer ones, we can have old versus new. And I think it's great. You can market so much more now than you could have in the past few years.
Well said. I like that. Time for Twitter talk. I asked you to gather some tweets because you're always on there. And just, I don't know how many you got, but just rattle off a few funny ones that you found. It's kind of like a halftime. I don't know. We're just going to vibe in here. What'd you find on Twitter?
Alrighty, hold on a second here. So somebody posted, I can't really play it. It was a video of, I think it was, what's his name? Jay Williams. He's talking about like, oh, the Bucks are never going to win if Giannis stays. He re-signed, and then it's like the and
the clown,
yeah. I think Yanni threw shade at Harden. He said something about
they've been beefing for forever.
He said like, oh, to do it here and not join a super team was so much nicer. All that. Another one. Someone retweeted this old tweet. Rajon Rondo to Chris Paul in 2009. I've got one ring, and you're never gonna win one. Someone just tweeted that out tonight. Let's see. I think I have a few more. I'm not totally sure.
I'll stall for you. The Giannis one from 2014. For some reason, in 2014, as a rookie, he tweeted out, "I'm not leaving Milwaukee till they get a chip." That was like Giannis, like raw prospect. He just tweeted that out for no reason. He made good on it. So that's the most Giannis thing I can imagine. And then also just Giannis though. I was so happy watching him win. It was great seeing Giannis win. And then he was dancing with his wife, with his brother. That was great. Any other tweets?
Yeah, someone said Jay Crowder has lost 2 finals two NBA finals in 9 months. Everybody dance now because nobody messes with Jay Crowder on Twitter. I think that's really all I got. I was too much in the moment. Oh, someone said PJ got a ring with Giannis, but not with James Harden, and his name was all in asterisks, so it was like just asterisk, James Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I really got. Like I said, I was kind of in the moment there. Oh, someone said, how many championships do the Phoenix Suns have? Someone edited the Suns and 4 guy to go like this, the 0 from 4 to 0. Yeah, that's about it. Just a lot of someone. God, every time he sees Christopher Paul at the doorstep of a title, it's the photo of him when he got broken by PG, like flopping.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Are the streets saying Giannis best in the world right now? Once you win that title,
it's basically they did that with Kawhi in 2019 after he won the Raptors title. It was like, oh, he's better than LeBron. He's the king. He's the best in the world. I've been saying that. I've been pushing that. A lot of people call me delusional. A lot of people tonight, especially after its performance, were like, yeah, I think for now he can have that best in the world crown, especially going out like that in a clinching game. You can call him that. So yeah, I think some people have it. Some people are going to be like KD is still there with the performances he gave. Because be real, what's up?
Continue.
Oh, okay. If we're real here, if one of Harden or Kyrie are healthy, they probably are hoisting this Larry O'B trophy if the landscape of injury stays the same down the line with the Nets. So keeping KD at 1 is fine. I'm gonna put Yanni at 1 for shits and gigs because I like being annoying on Twitter. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely top 3. However you want to
this summer, Giannis can have it. He can have the best player in the world crown. But yeah. Anything else to add from these NBA finals from this game?
It was rough seeing our Lakers go down, but this was a nice way to end the season. It was something. It was really a gauntlet. It was really a grind. I mean, we got out of it. The league is, I guess, still standing well, but
and
hopefully,
I don't know one cares about it, but they did this all without DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo is a very crucial part of their team. It's their starting 2 guard.
No, people were. I mean, I know Pat was great and all, but having Dante, especially with like also having PJ there, would have really optimized being able for them to go Yanni at the 5 the whole time. Because then they had to play guys like they had to play Connaughton, which meant they have to have Brooke out there, and then Yanni couldn't play the 5, and then like Portis would have to come in sometimes and all that. But if they had him, because I was saying when we did our hoop doctor, I said, give me PJ Tucker, then you have an all-out switching 5. Yanni, Drew, Chris, PJ, and Dante. Just what I also wanted to say, my hoop doctor, flawless. Grab PJ Tucker. I think wanted them.
All 3 of us in their hoop doctors grabbed PJ Tucker at the deadline. I think that
But it happened for me. I also said I wanted them to sign Austin Rivers. They went and got Jeff Teague. Horrible decision, but it's fine. They still won.
And guess what? Austin Rivers balled down the playoffs, so George Martin never misses.
Maybe they win in 5 instead of 6. Who knows?
All right. So that was the NBA Finals. And like promised, we had a little speed round, but I know not a whole lot of people care about too much than what just happened on Tuesday night. So we'll get this over quickly and pretty good finals talk. 48 minutes of just hoops. But yeah, starting off here, Will Barton, he declines his player option for $14.7 million. I got 2 questions here. First one, is this good for Big Willie? Do you think he could get a lot more on the open market than that 14.7? He was injured. He's very injury prone, but when he played for the Nuggets, he was the second best player in the playoffs. A lot of that had to do with Jamal Murray being out. But how do you like his odds of getting a long-term deal, whether it's with the Nuggets or elsewhere?
I like his chances, especially with this Nuggets team. They lack high-level defensive guards. He's one of those. They lost Gary Harris in the Aaron Gordon trade. So I think him opting out kind of signifies him, wanting to have a longer-term deal. I think he likes being in Denver. Like I said, they need defensive pieces, especially, Murray's going to be coming back from an injury. Jokic isn't the best defender at all. When, they had those guys around Jamal and AG and Jokic, they were a phenomenal team. Mostly a consensus pick to at least make the conference finals if they had everyone healthy. So I think it'd be smart to bring them back, especially with Murray down for a good few months of the season. They're gonna need him in their backcourt.
Yeah, he's also one of the trippiest players in the league. I don't mind when he's injured because he pulls up in these Hawaiian shirts and it's beautiful. Him and Jeff Teague, best like low key best strike because like Serge Ibaka tries too hard. I'm not going to get into it. That's not the topic. Is this good for Denver? Do you see a way where maybe they pay him 12 a year over 4 and they save $3 million per year because obviously he's a young player that might have having to pay him long term. But is this good for Denver that he opts out? Oh, George is coughing. I'll give him a few seconds.
Sorry. I do. I think both sides are going to come.
I appreciate it.
Huh? Yes,
Thank
I know this time. I know.
Yeah.
I think both sides will come to a fair deal here. They have a chance to do something this year. The West is a little bit more open now with Kawhi's injury and us kind of seemingly think he's down for the year. Lakers have a lot of work to do. Who knows what the Suns are doing? I think it'd be smart because without him, I don't know who their starting 2 would be. So it's very key they bring him back.
So you think you gotta bring him back as long as he's not requesting like outrageous money.
I think even like 15 mil over a certain amount of time is smarter because listen, if he were to opt in and then play great, maybe he's commanding 20. And there's so many of these guards. Like I've heard Schroeder wants 20, Uber wants 20. Sorry, but some of these guys are commanding like higher numbers that might inflate market value. I think it's smart to get him for around 12 to 15. That's great value for Barton.
Do you think he could get like a Norm Powell? Because I feel like Norm's going to get the cliche 4 for 72. Do you think 18? Will Barton could? If you're the Nuggets, would you pay Will Barton 4 for 72?
I probably would. Because listen, I don't know what they're looking at cap wise, but I don't really see a 2 guard they could bring in that could replace Barton's production.
And
so I think you have to.
They can't replace him because they're strapped on. They're not strapped on cap, but like they got 2 max players there. They can't.
They also gave up. They gave up picks to get Gordon. They gave up their other starting 2 guard in Harris. They're kind of asset strapped. I don't know what the tax and cap is looking like, but
they got his bird right. So just bring Will Barton back for anything. Honestly, hopefully he doesn't seem like a guy who wants to run the piggy bank dry. But hopefully Will Barton, anything under 20, I'm comfortable giving Will Barton. Hopefully he stays healthy, though, because once you get in that 3rd and 4th year and you can't stay healthy, you got a little bit of a
problem on your hands.
Yeah. Who is he? The Rockets guy signed with the Mavericks a few years ago. Chandler Parsons. Sexy Chandler Parsons. Yeah, he could not stay healthy and sign that big-ass contract. All right, so we're in agreement there. You got to bring Will Barton back. And it's good for Big Willie. Not great for Denver, but, hey, lock him up long-term now. Next topic, Zach LaVine. We missed it. He goes into COVID protocol, and then by the time we drop a new episode, he's already going to join the team on Thursday. So I don't know if that means it's a false alarm or what, but it's good news no matter what. Because I was very big on Zach LaVine. He's kind of being that perfect 6th man for the Team USA.
6th man like Lou.
He's an all-star, so obviously, but he fills that 6th man role great. He's doing a little things, and he's being just a spark plug scorer for Team USA. Really showed in that last W before they go to Tokyo. He'll join on Thursday, which I think is before their first game because they're heading to Tokyo today as of Wednesday. How important is this in the grand scheme of things? Because Zach LaVine, he's not playing all 48. He's not playing the whole game, but I think it's been pretty good for them. What say you?
Yeah, another score. He participates on defense somewhat. Just also nice that he's not sick. Obviously, he cleared protocol. That's obviously great. Just he can rejoin the team. Yeah, he's athletic. He's a combo guard. You can't get enough of those. And he looked like he was also throwing some oops, running down the court. He's a good guy, especially off the bench. Definitely, I know FIBA rosters are great and all, but when you go to the benches, that's where the talent gap really shows itself. So another key piece for Team USA. Good news there.
That's a great point. Yeah, the bench, you need to win because you got bench guys like Patty Mills being the starting lineup. When you put on that Australia jersey, you're an all-star. Like that's just how it is for these guys when they play for their
Patty
team.
Mills is like Australia's KD.
You literally put that jersey on, you're an all-star now for your state, for your country. But when you get to the bench, then talent gap really shows. Good point there. And then it seems like no one else is really too in the protocol right now for Team USA.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant cleared it pretty quickly, so it seems like as long as nothing happens there, which there's going to be some sort of bubble, so they should.
There's no fans in Tokyo, so bummer, but They keeps him healthy. Because
Right move, I
no one
think.
really thinks of the long-term effects. They got one guy in Tatum who battled asthma because he got COVID for the whole season.
Inhaler, yeah.
It's great to see they can join the team quickly, but it's also good news they join the team quickly because it's probably a false
They're
alarm.
healthy.
They didn't actually get COVID, so they don't have the long-term repercussions. So yeah, good there. Last topic here. NBA is switching to the Wilson ball next season. Like I said, they've been with Spalding for a long time. I bought Spalding trading cards. They were a huge partner there. I don't know if it was because they had a falling out with Spalding, Wilson offered more money, or hey, maybe everyone just knows indoor Wilson balls are where it's at. Well, pause, but I mean, they make the best ones. I'm sure. Let me get your opinion on that first. I mean, just growing up playing basketball, you Wilson guy, a Spalding guy?
Oh, Wilson. I think I was Spalding growing up a little bit because my dad's a little old school, so we'd use that. But when I started playing more competitive, travel, club, all that, when I was with the Vipers, that's when I got introduced.
The Vipers.
That's when I got introduced to the Wilson ball. I'm like, oh, this is a sick ball. We play with that in the Greek League. Wilson ball, unofficial sponsor of the Simi Valley Men's Rec League ball. We used Lehman's, the one he stole from that rec center.
Okay,
but,
in my defense, say we used my ball for the Sunday League Men's League, but I stole it. But it was like 5 years ago, and I'm not like a dick. Like someone left it there. Not everyone was there, and I took someone's ball, and this kid was like, "Oh, where's my ball?" And his mom got mad at him. Someone left it there, and you can't leave a $50 ball there when I'm 14. I'm gonna take that. Like it was a perfect ball.
Everyone had left. Lehman was like looking around,
and I still use it. We got a little bit of time before we hit our hour threshold, and I know J Sports is grinding at work right now. So let's give him some more time. Everyone else listening, you can tune out now, or you can hear this fun story about George. We both get cut from the freshman basketball team. And this guy comes up to us and says, "Hey, you can play for the Vipers. It's a travel team." And George pays $200 a month to hopefully earn the affection of the senior high coach where we went to school.
I forgot his last name, but I know his first name's Rick. I forgot his last name.
And Allard, Mr. Allard.
Yeah.
And George pays $200 a month and still doesn't make the sophomore team. So that's why George talks about
basketball.
I
got better, though. I got a little bit better.
You got better? That travel team did you well?
Yeah, I mean, all that work to score 4 points in our W in the men's league last weekend.
But we are 1-1 in the men's league Pioneer Rejects.
Should be 2-0, man. That team we lost to was fun.
Should be 2-0. I threw the game. But yeah, Wilson just goated. Wilson is much better than Spalding. Do you know any details about it? I could do the research, but it's not a huge topic. But do you think like Curry is just like, I want Wilson now, or do you think Wilson just offered more money? It is a business.
I don't know. I do think they probably did do it for the money reasons because I saw the price in the Wilson Bowl. It's outrageous. So
that's why I stole mine.
Yeah, nice. Nice to be you.
But yeah, I'm gonna call it. I'm on vacation. I'll be back Thursday, but I'm gonna call it. It's time for bed. Maybe go watch Wolf of Wall Street. Might go hang out on the roof, but it's 110 degrees in Arizona right now.
Go to the hot tub Anthony wanted.
Yeah, I'll go to the hot tub that we got here in Arizona for no reason. But once again, shout out to everyone, not just people who shout out every time, like J Sports Podcast and Danny Stipp. Everyone who's listening right now, thank you so much. On Instagram at THHoopers, like I mentioned, and Twitter. George, once again, what's your Twitter so people can make fun of you when you say stupid stuff?
G_Martin21.
There you go. And on YouTube, please subscribe. And I think once we get more focused, when school starts back up, when me and George are back in the same city, we're going to start posting clips to places like YouTube and stuff to try and grow stuff. So
TikTok will be
George's a big TikTok guy. So George will be on TikTok posting stuff there. So that'll be fun. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for being OG. Everyone, enjoy. I'll see you guys Thursday.